America's roadways are riddled with potholes. These holes, they're a result of broken politics. In America, government, it's what we do together. And infrastructure, that's what we build together. But in America, our infrastructure is as old and rusty and energy defunct as my 1949 Detroit lead sled. America's first lowrider, a Hudson Commodore 8. Seeking the hearts and minds of Americans, I set out on a 2-year odyssey, a 20,000-mile long road trip. Method acting the part of broken infrastructure, I steered my rolling metaphor, named Mrs. Martin, westward out of Boston, in hopes of circumnavigating the nation's lower 48. To keep the show on the road, my mechanic, my teacher, my friend, Dr. Per Christensen, joined me. Together we drove into the soul of the world's greatest built world. In the end, we found it bold and beautiful, but ultimately broken. The pillars of society, government, schools, hospitals, rest upon infrastructural foundations. Seeking to discover the strengths and the weaknesses of the nation's foundations, Per and I set out to lay hands on every category of the country's infrastructure. Rolling with truckers and the traveling public, we traversed the nation's 4 million mile net of byways and highways. We spanned the greatest, the busiest, and the most structurally deficient of our 670,000 plus bridges. Mrs. Martin challenged and lost her races against the iron horses of the world's mightiest industrial rail system, 141,000 miles of steel wheels on steel rails. We rode the limited ways of public transit systems. With futurists, we sought the vision of high-speed rail. We sailed with crews out of home ports and into the 12,000 miles of inland waterways. With pilots, we lifted off the most impressive runways and touched down in the smallest of our 5,000 airports. We ventured into the brightness and the darkness of our energy grid, which led us to the dams and levees of power, where we witnessed the dangers of imprisoned water that slakes our thirst and feeds our food. Sanitation engineers enlightened us to the potential of reclamation and the damnation of disposal. Finally, we sought peace in our national, state, and local parks. We were welcomed into the home of our collective mind, the most important building of all, the public schoolhouse. The cracks in our concrete, the rust in our metal, they are the repercussions of the failure of governance. We've come to believe that more powerful than an ironworker's torch, or the carpenter's saw, or the plumber's wrench, is the cast of your vote.